December 5th, 1996. That's the day the first electric vehicle went on sale. And yet, 21 years later, only 2% of the cars sold in the U.S. are electric vehicles, or EVs. That is about to change fast. For the first time ever, we have the technology to overcome all the obstacles currently preventing EVs from going mainstream. And according to a Wall Street legend you'll meet today, it's about to send EV sales surging 1,500% or more over the next 4 years. Known as the forever battery, this new technology is being hailed as the battery of the future, a game-changing innovation, and the battery that could change the world. From truck drivers in Nashville to New York CEOs and Gen Xers to millennials, EVs powered by this technology will soon be the only logical choice for anyone looking to buy a car. As an investment opportunity, this is unlike anything we've likely seen before and bigger than anything we may see again in our lifetime. So turn off any distractions, take a seat, and stay glued to your screen, because I don't want you to look back and wish you'd learned more about the forever battery and a company pioneering the technology behind it. Hi, I'm John Daly, and thank you for joining me. Now take a look at the battery inside this electric vehicle. It costs $20,000, takes up to 12 hours to charge, weighs 1,200 pounds, can cause deadly fires, and drives just 250 miles on a single charge. Now look at this new battery. What some experts are calling the forever battery is about the size of a pack of cards. A battery like this is expected to allow electric vehicles, or EVs, to cost the same as gas-powered cars by next year. A forever battery takes just 15 minutes to charge, weighs next to nothing, doesn't burst into flames, and could soon power your EV for 1,000 miles on a single charge. To put that in perspective, if you were to drive a Nissan Leaf from coast to coast, you'd have to recharge the battery 8 times, a Chevy Bolt 7 times. Even the so-called energy-efficient Tesla Model X would need to be charged 6 times. And you'd have to hang around for anywhere between 1 and 12 hours at each charging station. But with a forever battery in your vehicle, you'd only have to recharge once in a matter of minutes. It all boils down to this. For the first time ever, we have a technology that overcomes all the obstacles preventing current EVs from going mainstream. On cost alone, the impact of this innovation is off the charts. The average EV costs $55,000, way out of reach for most Americans. But this new technology could cut the cost of a battery in half, making it much more affordable than current electric vehicles. And as for gas-powered cars, well, an EV powered by a forever battery would cost a good $10,000 less than the average car. If this works out as expected, it won't be long before every American highway will be teeming with EVs, and every other house in your neighborhood will have one parked in the driveway. Soon, EVs with a forever battery under the hood will be the only logical choice for anyone looking to buy a car. Now, maybe EVs aren't your thing. Maybe you prefer the roar of a Mustang over the eerily silent Prius. But as an investment opportunity, well, this kind of breakthrough doesn't come along every day. However, there's not a minute to lose. This is a rapidly changing situation, one that could pass you by in a flash, leaving you wishing you'd acted right away. Make no mistake, the forever battery could be a game changer. It's set to disrupt 2 of the biggest industries in the world, the $2 trillion car industry and the fossil fuel industry, which experts say could see a $25 trillion collapse in future profits, thanks to this breakthrough. The world's wealthiest people are investing heavily in the company that pioneered the forever battery technology in this laboratory right here. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Michael Bloomberg, Richard Branson, and Jack Ma have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in it. Bill Joy, the co-founder of Sun Microsystems and early trailblazer of the Internet of Things, just took a $65 million stake. And get this, George Soros recently invested a staggering $4.6 billion in the company. Experts believe this company is at the epicenter of the EV revolution and could be the key to unleashing millions of dollars in new wealth. It would be a bit like being the first to hear about a little-known stock called Amazon that would go on to obliterate the retail industry, handing investors gains of more than 89,000% since 1997. Or a company called Microsoft that will ultimately turn the computer software market upside down, showing investors life-changing gains of 97,000% since 1986. Or a stock called Netflix that would disrupt the entire $2 trillion entertainment market, showing investors 39,000% gains since 2003. Of course, these are historical examples, and it's important to recognize that all investment involves risk of loss. But experts say this new battery revolution could be even bigger over the long term. In fact, some experts even liken the battery revolution to the switch from the horse and buggy to Ford's Model T. Fact is, the forever battery is a quantum leap forward for mankind and could easily create more new millionaires than any disruption in history. It has the potential to mint the next Steve Jobs, says the New York Times, likening it to the early days of mobile phones. The bombshell technology inside the forever battery is a gold rush in the making. Many investors will try to get rich quick, and most will fail. But the smart people who know how this will play out over the next decade will set themselves up for maximum profits. Not only will you be one of the few who know about it ahead of time, long before the masses and even the so-called experts on Wall Street, you could also see a lot of money pour into your account. Now, in a moment, you'll discover the secret technology inside the forever battery. You'll see why this battery all but guarantees the mass adoption of electric vehicles. And most important of all, you'll get details on a secretive startup behind this new technology, including how to get the ticker symbol so you can buy shares today before it sparks a 1,500% surge in EV sales over the next 4 years. But first, let me tell you about the man who knows more about this opportunity than anyone else we've spoken to in our months-long investigation. He's appeared on CNBC, Newsmax, and The Huckabee Show. Mike Huckabee describes him as one of the top investment gurus in America. Sarah Palin was frustrated with her financial advisor and disappointed with her investments. So this man said he'd pay her to try a different approach, and it paid off. What used to take me years to make, I'm now making in weeks, she says. His name is Charles Mizrahi, and during his 40-year career on Wall Street, he's been featured in Barron's, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and more. He's the man who Barron's crowned the top market timer, not once, not twice, but 7 years in a row. That's like winning the Super Bowl 7 years in a row. And in the 1990s, he helped his clients achieve gains as high as 100% per year for 3 straight years. He's the secret weapon of money managers and analysts at some of the biggest investment banks. In fact, over the course of Mizrahi's career, analysts at 8 of the top 10 investment banks on Wall Street have relied on his research, including Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, Citibank, JP Morgan, UBS, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, and the Royal Bank of Canada. Now, you might think someone so successful would have an Ivy League education, that he was born into a wealthy, well-connected family with powerful friends.
We were as working class as you can get. Growing up, the only person I knew on Wall Street was my uncle. He waited tables in the New York Stock Exchange dining room. So when I first set foot on the trading floor, it really blew my mind. Looking back, I probably had more guts than sense. I didn't have a fancy degree. My grades at high school, well, I didn't graduate at the top of my class, that's for sure. But I never let school get in the way of my education. I was always reading and continue to be an avid reader today. So I had to find a hack to make up for my lack of experience and knowledge. I was always able to find people older, smarter, and with more experience than myself and ask them for advice.
After a little less than 2 years as a floor trader, Mizrahi opened his own money management company. He rented a 400 square foot office on the west side of Manhattan, in a part of New York City where his wealthy clients wouldn't be found after the sun went down. What's remarkable is that despite his lack of experience, he had an uncanny ability to be one step ahead of Wall Street. He saved his clients a ton of money when he moved their assets out of stocks and into money market funds about 2 weeks before the 1987 Black Monday crash, propelling him and his firm to the top tier of investment performance among professional money managers. In 1999, he foresaw another crash.
I was telling anyone who would listen that the internet stock craze would probably go down in history as a textbook example of a mania, and that the market, well, it'll eventually fall and fall hard. Unfortunately, I was right. Not long after, the NASDAQ plummeted 78%. A lot of people didn't know what hit them.
And Mizrahi became even more well-known when he called the housing bubble that led to the 2008 financial crisis, cautioning investors to watch from the sidelines. In each instance, folks who heeded his warnings avoided catastrophic losses. But that's just the beginning. Charles Mizrahi has also been at the forefront of almost every major technological trend in the past 10 years. In 2011, as cloud computing took off, he recommended Microsoft, despite what the naysayers were saying. The Windows monopoly is reaching its end of life, Seeking Alpha predicted. Microsoft is a dying consumer brand, said CNN Money. Who got it right? Mizrahi. In 2012, he recognized that Apple's best days were still ahead of it, unlike critics who said Apple was doomed because iPhone sales were waning. Apple is going to die as a company, wrote a Forbes contributor. And Saxo Bank predicted that Apple shares would plummet 50% from its 2011 high. But Mizrahi was looking at it from a completely different angle. He took note of the 400 million credit cards the company had on file and quickly figured out that buyers of music and apps no longer had to submit their credit card details to make a purchase. A single tap of their phone and bam, the transaction was done. He issued a buy now alert for Apple before the stock price went nuts. And in 2011, while critics wrote off Intel as a dinosaur, Mizrahi had his eye on a new trend that would push Intel stock to new highs. Data was growing exponentially. Intel saw a gap in the market and pivoted to providing chips to data centers. Mizrahi recommended the stock and, as he predicted, it shot up. These stocks have performed exceptionally well. But he says this technology, the technology inside the forever battery, will be even bigger. It's already causing a massive shift that's taking place at warp speed. In fact, technology analysts at Bloomberg NEF say that by next year, EVs will cost the same as gas-powered cars. What's more, analysts at ARK Invest, who manage over $50 billion in assets, expect the number of EVs sold to hit 40 million, an increase of more than 1,500% in just 4 years. Their projection is based on hard science, not hope. Wright's law states that every time units of a product double, cost will fall by a constant percentage. It makes perfect sense if you think about it. The more units produced, the cheaper the technology becomes, the greater the demand there is. Now take a look. The yellow line is price, and the blue line is demand. When they cross over, watch out. That's when lower prices open the floodgates to consumer demand. And it's been dead right in more than 60 technologies, ranging from solar power to televisions and semiconductors to ovens. For EVs, the tipping point, affordability, may finally be arriving thanks to the new technology inside forever batteries. It's the same catalyst that has triggered an explosion in many of the biggest and most important innovations of the past 100 years. Mizrahi points to personal computers, PCs, as an example.
In 1972, the first computer went on sale for $500,000, and that's in today's dollars. The first affordable PC, the Commodore 64, went on sale 10 years later, and the price tag was just $1,600. Demand, well, it shot through the roof, causing the stock price to surge 267% in the following year. By 1993, 30 million units of the Commodore 64 had been sold. And to this day, it remains the best-selling computer of all time. Think about that. From 0 to 30 million units in just 11 years. That's incredible. That's how fast technologies take off when they become cheap enough for the masses. Same thing with cell phones. The Motorola Dynatac hit the market in 1983 with a hefty price tag of $4,000. But when lower-priced Nokia phones came to market, they flew off the shelves. Phones in the 6100 series cost as little as $200 with a service contract. The company, well, they sold nearly 41 million cell phones in 1998 alone. From 0 to 41 million units in 1 year. I mean, that's pretty amazing growth. And investors, well, they saw gains of 1,500% in the 3.5 years that followed. It was the same with digital cameras, flat-screen TVs, laptops, you name it. As soon as they become affordable, demand increased and sales, well, soared. Look at cars. In the early 1900s, only the wealthy could afford them. But in 1913, when Ford's assembly line allowed for mass production, the price came down and car ownership began a 100-year upward march. In 1915, about 2% of Americans owned a car. But within 15 years, that number had increased tenfold. Ford only went public in 1956, but it's credited with helping America's 20th century middle class take off.
Now, more than a century later, Mizrahi says we're in a similar position with electric vehicles, where high cost is the #1 reason we don't see more EVs on roads across America. Now, with a price tag of more than $55,000 on average, they simply are too expensive for the average American. For that reason, EVs make up only 2% of the market. But thanks to forever batteries, EVs could soon be cheap enough and practical enough for everyday Americans. MIT Technology Review says that any battery that can meet these requirements can really open up the other 98% of the market. The battery revolution is already underway across the whole market. The Guardian recently announced the rapid reduction of battery cost is expected to trigger a faster switch to electric vehicles than previously expected. The New York Times reports the age of electric cars is dawning ahead of schedule. And CBC News says the wait is over. The battery revolution is here. The bottom line is this: the forever battery is poised to make EVs so affordable that mass adoption is inevitable. Today, as in right now, you can buy shares of the company pioneering this new technology, a company set to help propel growth in EV sales by more than 1,500% over the next 4 years. A company whose technology Barron says could be game-changing for the electric vehicle industry and for the company's stock. Or you can sit on the sidelines, playing wait and see. But by then, the window of opportunity to make maximum profits will have passed. The fact that EVs are cheaper to run and maintain will only hasten the switch from gas-powered cars. Mr. Mizrahi says electric vehicles will soon be 90% cheaper to operate than gas-powered cars, according to data from a Stanford economist.
If you buy an EV instead of a regular car, you'll keep as much as $8,000 in your pocket over its lifespan. You'll also save as much as $1,000 per year on gas. Plus, EVs have motors, not engines, so you can forget about oil changes, spark plugs, transmission fluid, all that stuff. So a car's engine might last 150,000 miles before its parts wear out. But an EV, fitted with a forever battery, could last 1,000,000 miles or more. That's the equivalent of circling the planet 50 times. And don't forget, that makes the resale value much higher too, as the battery will now outlast other components of the vehicle.
It all adds up to one indisputable fact. Thanks to the forever battery, EVs are the future, says Mizrahi. UBS analyst Tim Bush agrees. There won't be many reasons left to buy an internal combustion engine after 2025. Remember, EVs currently make up just 2% of all car sales. Even if they expand their market share to just 10% of the $2 trillion car industry, investors could make a fortune. Today is your chance to be one of them. Keep in mind, a lower price is only one of the ways forever batteries could make electric vehicles more attractive. Fact is, these new batteries are better than our current batteries by every measure you can think of, from weight and safety to range and charging time. And yet, as Mizrahi points out, despite their limitations, old school batteries enabled the rise of the world's EV giants. NIO, a Chinese manufacturer backed by Baidu and Tencent, has gone up 900% since it went public in 2018. Warren Buffett made more than $7 billion on his investment in Chinese EV maker BYD. And during a pandemic that saw car travel plummet, Tesla's stock shot up 600%. Even more impressive? The company has seen its stock price soar more than 22,000% in the past 10 years, turning Main Street investors into millionaires in the flash of an eye. Now, if you'd invested just $6,000 in Tesla in 2010, you'd be a millionaire today. But Mizrahi says that ride is likely over. Notoriously stubborn, Elon Musk is intent on improving lithium-ion batteries, something engineers have been trying to do since the 1980s without success. In fact, Dr. John Goodenow, the co-inventor of the original lithium-ion battery and winner of the 2019 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, says forever batteries are the future. And his research partner, Dr. Stan Whittingham, says it holds the potential to transform the industry. That's why the International Business Times calls the potential of forever batteries the Tesla killer. Torque News predicts it will wipe the floor with Tesla battery tech. And Business Insider says forever batteries could be a death blow to traditional lithium-ion batteries like the ones you find in Teslas. In short, Charles Mizrahi says we've reached a tipping point. The forever battery is going to make EVs so affordable, mass adoption is no longer an if, it's a when. And his peers on Wall Street agree. Whitney Tilson, the hedge fund manager, who's nicknamed the Prophet, says, I assure you, with 100% certainty, this is happening, and for one simple reason: economics. Think about it. You may not want an EV for yourself, but if you're a millennial looking to buy a new car and you have the option of a safer, more powerful vehicle that is cheaper to buy, cost 90% less to run, and last up to 6 times longer, and is good for the environment, well, why would you choose the alternative? Some car manufacturers are scrambling to keep up. Established car makers around the world are ripping up their business models in the hope of adapting to a new world in which electricity replaces gasoline and diesel, says a CNN contributor. Problem is, as they jockey for position, guessing which car company will become the next king of EVs is a gamble for anyone wanting to profit from the situation. But Charles Mizrahi doesn't guess. He doesn't speculate, and he definitely doesn't gamble. His analysis is rooted in 40 years of experience on Wall Street. It's what has made him so successful at identifying megatrends before the masses catch on. And it's why he's so successful at finding pioneering companies at the forefront of those trends. He says if you invest in the battery technology that experts predict could power every single EV on the planet, your chances of making money skyrockets. One company is leading the way, having secured its technology with 200 patents. In time, it could easily become a household name like Microsoft, Intel, or Oracle. The company operates out of this Silicon Valley laboratory. The Washington Post calls it a billionaire factory because the potential to make money is off the charts for early investors. The Wall Street Journal calls it the hot battery startup that could zap Tesla. The company's management team has extensive experience and operating capabilities in the automotive sector, with a track record of keeping shareholders very happy. And it just upped the ante by nabbing a former Tesla engineer to oversee the expansion of production. One of its biggest corporate shareholders is a car manufacturer that aims to produce 22 million battery-powered EVs by 2029. And deep-pocketed investors like Bill Gates, Vinod Khosla, George Soros, and Jeremy Grantham have poured in more than $5 billion into the company. And now, after 10 years of secretive research and development, their iteration of the Forever battery with their proprietary technology and over 200 patents is almost ready for prime time. And Charles predicts it will fuel a 1,500% surge in EV sales over the next 4 years. An early stage investment could hand you truly life-changing profits. But I should caution you, if you want to invest in the startup that cracked the battery code, this isn't the time to sit on the sidelines. As more and more car companies turn to this new technology, we could see every hot trend chaser piling in, looking for the next big home run, pushing the stock price sky high. How much money is at stake? The Wall Street Journal says the value of this breakthrough could be measured in the billions of dollars, if not trillions. Any way you look at it, Mizrahi is convinced it's only a matter of time before the Forever battery blows the lid off the EV market. Now, last year, 3.1 million EVs were sold worldwide, a number projected to surge 60% this year. Now, we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of electric vehicles anymore. We're talking more about 5 million this year alone, a leading commodity analyst told Bloomberg. The White House recently announced plans to electrify the entire government fleet, a full 600,000 cars and trucks. What's more, together with state governments, the feds are practically throwing money at prospective buyers, all in an effort to reduce carbon emissions. The IRS allows an EV tax credit of as much as $7,500. States offer tax incentives ranging from $1,500 in Louisiana to $5,000 in Colorado. And the rest of the world is on the same track. Japan, the Netherlands, and the UK have announced plans to ban gas-powered cars by 2030, Norway by 2025. And China, the largest EV market in the world, says EVs will account for 20% of total new car sales by 2025, and almost all new car sales by 2035. Torque News says if there was ever a time in history where an EV revolution would take over on a massive scale, the time is now. And a Forbes contributor predicts a future where electric cars are the default and gasoline-powered cars are relics of a carbon-intensive past. Folks, this revolution is happening before our eyes. Land Rover, Mercedes-Benz, Ford, BMW, Toyota, you name it. All of them are going electric in the next few years, and almost all of them want to use Forever batteries in their vehicles. VW plans to churn out 1 million EVs in the next 2 years. General Motors has committed to offering electric vehicles exclusively by 2035. We have everything in place to drive mass adoption of EVs, says CEO Mary Barra. Chinese startup NIO says it will start putting Forever batteries in its vehicles next year. In total, automakers have announced EV investments of more than $257 billion. Mr. Mizrahi's research shows that the avalanche of new affordable EVs is pushing demand through the roof.
GM's new Hummer EV sold out to retailers in 10 minutes with another 3,000 orders on a wait list. Lyft and Uber have said their fleets will be 100% electric by 2030. Amazon, well, they just bought 100,000 EVs. The next time you order something off Amazon, look at the delivery vehicle. There's a good chance it'll be electric. Even Apple is rumored to be launching an electric iCar. When you add all that up, the EV market is expected to reach $5 trillion in the next 10 years. $5 trillion. Boy, that's a lot of cars. And Forever batteries could power them all.
Now, with a tailwind like that, the potential to profit is nothing short of staggering. Jim Cramer of Mad Money fame says, this is not an incremental change, it is a seismic change. Wall Street analysts call the company the poster child for the global EV story. And yet, the stock has been largely overlooked by big institutional investors, at least for now. That can give you a tremendous advantage if you act soon. Frankly, there's not a moment to lose. Excitement about electric vehicles is building to a fever pitch. Already, investors are swarming, says the Wall Street Journal. In fact, Mr. Mizrahi says he expects the battery revolution to mint tens of thousands of new millionaires in the years ahead. Considering his track record of accurate predictions, he's a man worth listening to.
On October 6th of 1987, I moved all my clients from stocks into cash. I can't remember the exact numbers, it was a long time ago, but at the time we were up somewhere around 25% on the year. 2 weeks later, the market had its worst day in history, down 22% in a single day. It's called Black Monday. Now, as I remember it, that year we finished up something like 22% and the S&P was up only 5%. Our phones were ringing off the hook, both from people wanting us to invest their money and the media, of course. It wasn't long before we had $200 million under management. And in 1998, we had a banner year. I remember opening up Barron's and saying, holy smokes, we're number one. Other than my kids' births and my wedding day, I don't think there was a happier day in my life.
Now, looking to the future, Mizrahi says he's certain the Forever battery will be the biggest story in the automotive industry for at least the next 10 years, probably more. The technology is going to reshape everything about our lives and our planet. A few years from now, your grandkids will think about gas-powered cars the same way they think about rotary phones, cassette tapes, and fax machines, as relics of the past. Luckily, from an investment standpoint, you still have time to get in. The battery revolution is just starting to crank up, but it's imperative you act today. In just a moment, I'll give you the details of the number one stock to take advantage of as the battery revolution takes off. But by now, you might be wondering exactly what the Forever battery is and how it works. It's what scientists call a solid-state battery. These batteries are completely different to lithium-ion batteries, which have a liquid core. That liquid is what can cause a vehicle or device to burst into flames without warning. But the solid core of the Forever battery is not flammable, so there's no danger of explosion or fire. It's as tough as nails. Heck, you could shoot it with a .44 Magnum and it still wouldn't catch fire. Better still, a solid core has a much greater surface area than its liquid equivalent, making it way more energy dense. Here's the best part. Not only could the solid-state core take as little as 15 minutes to charge, but it degrades far less than liquid core batteries, meaning it lasts longer. All around, Forever batteries, solid-state batteries, are smaller, lighter, safer, and more powerful, and more convenient than current EV batteries. Most importantly, they could cut the price of an EV in half. Remember, the main catalyst that drives mass adoption is affordability. That's exactly where we are right now. The Forever battery is finally going to make EVs affordable enough for the average American family. To be frank, when I first started investigating the battery revolution, I was skeptical, to say the least, and with good reason. There's been a lot of hype about the next generation batteries. But the more I learned about Forever batteries and the more I talked to Charles, I realized that this is literally going to change the world. That's why I agreed to help to get the message out to folks like you who are watching this video, so that you can take advantage of this opportunity right away. Keep in mind, this is a development that is picking up speed fast, so the time to get in is now. You may never have another opportunity like this again, where one stock is at the forefront of an inevitable, unstoppable mega trend that could turn a stake of just $10,000 into $40,000 or more in just 5 years, depending on how long you stay invested. This could be the moment you remember for the rest of your life, the moment everything changed for you and your money. Of course, as Charles makes clear to all his readers, there's no guarantee of success. All investments carry some degree of risk, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. But opportunities like this don't land in your lap every day. It could be a long time before we see another technological revolution of this size and scope. That's why Charles has just put the finishing touches on a time-sensitive special report called The Forever Battery: How to Profit as EV Sales Grow 1,500% over the next 4 years. This report gives you the full details on the company I've described to you, the one that's poised to dominate the battery revolution. It holds 200 patents that protects its proprietary technology. And no one outside the company is allowed to know what its battery is made of. Even the color of the man-made substance is a closely guarded secret. When a photographer came to take pictures, the company made him use a color-changing camera filter to ensure the material's true hue would remain confidential. Already, one of the biggest multinational car manufacturers in the world, a $170 billion company, is pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into the company. And it won't be the last. All told, we are looking at an estimated $5 trillion in new wealth being created. Even if you get a tiny piece of that, it could move you closer to the financial future you've dreamed of, or at the very least, give you enough money to enjoy your life more. When the New York Times says it has the potential to mint the next Steve Jobs, this is what they're referring to. Simply put, the forever battery is more than just a revolution. It's an unstoppable force. And one company is at the heart of it all. Renowned scientist Paul Albertus says the company has hit a home run in terms of their solid-state battery performance data. A senior analyst at Investor Place, Luke Lango, calls it a revolutionary company in its own right and says that right now is a golden buying opportunity for investors. Now, inside Charles' report, you'll learn the details of the world-changing forever battery. You'll also learn the ticker symbol and how much this research indicates the stock could go up. As the forever battery fuels a 1,500% surge in EV sales, the potential for massive gains skyrockets. Everything you need to know is all there in Charles's report. But before I show you how to get started, there is one thing you should keep in mind. Even though it already has heavy hitters like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Michael Bloomberg, Richard Branson, and George Soros as investors. Even though the company's researchers have decades of experience under their belt. Nothing in the world of tech innovation is a sure thing. So this isn't a bet the house kind of play. But the upside is massive. Just a small stake of $1,000, heck, even a few $100 could hand you a potential fortune over the next 5 years if you get started today. Even if you just want to learn about what's going on, it's worth reading Charles's report. Years from now, you may be able to look back and tell friends and family you saw this trend coming, understood just how huge it would be, and how you were able to make a ton of money off of it. And that's just the beginning. The electric vehicle industry is only one part of the solid-state battery picture. Charles says this technology, the same technology found inside the forever battery, is poised to disrupt the energy industry on an unprecedented scale.
According to industry insiders, the fossil fuel industry could see a $25 trillion collapse in future profits. That's because renewable energy is finally becoming a viable alternative thanks to advances in battery technology. When that amount of money pours from one industry into another, it's not rocket science, folks. Some people are going to lose a ton of money while others will make a ton of money. I know which side of the equation I'd rather be on. Mark my words. Oil cartels will be toppled. Major corporations face the the probability of collapse. Listen, these guys aren't stupid. They've realized that by continuing down the fossil fuel road, they risk extinction.
Now, Charles is right on the money. Even the United Arab Emirates says they are preparing for a world with no oil. We have to be ready to celebrate the last export of a barrel of oil, says a UAE spokesman. You see, until now, renewable energy sources were reliant on weather. Without efficient energy storage, fossil fuels are needed for times when the sun doesn't shine or the wind doesn't blow. But now utilities are building wind and solar farms that, together with new battery storage solutions, are far more cost-effective than building new fossil fuel plants. Jigar Shah, the founder of pioneering solar company Sun Edison, believes hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fossil fuel-powered plants might soon be mothballed for good. That's why a Forbes contributor calls energy storage the most important technology in the world right now. And Wired says it's an energy storage breakthrough that could power the future. This will be like the change from analog to digital or landlines to cell phones, says Advanced Microgrid Systems CEO Susan Kennedy. The energy industry will never be the same. Some companies have tried to store renewable energy in lithium-ion batteries with very limited success. Simply put, solid-state batteries are expected to be the only viable choice. And Charles Mizrahi believes one company holds the key to unlocking this historic energy revolution. In fact, it's the only company to provide 1.2 billion people access to renewable energy stored in solid-state batteries. And it's just getting started. Its storage solutions provide energy access to off-grid sites through a mini-grid powered by wind and solar. Its parent company is one of the 500 largest companies in the world, run by a man who Barron's calls a combination of Warren Buffett and Carl Icahn. Yet you almost certainly haven't heard of the company. Unfortunately, there isn't enough time today to go into more detail, but you'll find all the details of this company in Charles's special report, A New Era of Energy Storage, the Hottest Breakthrough of the 21st Century. Together with his first report, The Forever Battery, How to Profit as EV Sales Grow 1,500% over the next 4 years, you'll have all the details you need to profit from the battery revolution and get ahead of the herd before they realize what's taking place. Charles says these new batteries, solid-state batteries, are the sort of technological breakthrough that semiconductors were a generation ago, only bigger. Identifying massive investment opportunities like this is exactly what Charles did during his almost 40 years on Wall Street. But the truth is, he never really fit in.
While the other guys showed off their flashy cars and Rolex watches, I rode the subway and wore my $20 Casio watch to meetings. Listen, we had the top investment banks on our books as clients. I made them a lot of money. There was nothing wrong with that. But many of the so-called professionals on Wall Street are big on greed and pretty light on morals. When your sole focus is making money at any cost, you stop caring about the things that truly matter, like family and friends. Who cares if the little guy gets screwed, as long as you make money, right? That's just not how I was brought up. It's not who I am as a person. I don't care if you have a flashy car or if you wear a different Rolex every day of the week. That stuff's just not important to me. Character is what counts. That's why I stepped away from Wall Street. I shifted my focus to showing Main Street folks, like my parents, how to make money in the market. And I've never looked back.
Ever since, Charles has been on a mission to help regular Americans like you reach their financial dreams. Today, you can do the same by taking advantage of the battery revolution, which is poised to transform everything from how we travel to how we keep the lights on. Everything you need to know about this opportunity can be found in Charles's 2 special reports. The Forever Battery, How to Profit as EV Sales Grow 1,500% over the next 4 years, and A New Era of Energy Storage, the Hottest Breakthrough of the 21st Century. These 2 reports are valued at $199 each for a total of $398. But Charles says they can be yours today free of charge when you subscribe to Alpha Investor. This is his monthly newsletter that allows you to take control of your financial future, to go from frustration and worry to peace and confidence with your investments. In this newsletter, you receive his monthly stock recommendations, access to his entire model portfolio, along with notifications of when to buy and sell. His Alpha Investor readers, he has close to 100,000 of them, have done very well.
Look, I can't reveal the stocks in my model portfolio. It wouldn't be fair to my subscribers. But what I can tell you is this. 5 stocks in the portfolio have more than doubled in less than 2 years. And we have more than 12 stocks that are up double digits. Subscribers who followed my recommendations have had the chance to make serious money. Of course, I don't always get it right, and no, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do stack the odds in your favor because I know what to look for. You see, each month, I select a single investment I believe has the greatest potential to make you money. To be clear, I don't only recommend technology stocks. That means my favorite stock of the month could be, I don't know, a healthcare recommendation, or an insurance company, or even a banking company. First, I look for companies that are in industries that have strong tailwinds pushing them higher. Once I identify those industries, I only select companies that are run by rock star CEOs, because at the end of the day, the person in charge can make or break the company. And lastly, I analyze the company's financials and scrutinize government filings. I only want to buy a stock when it trades for a bargain price. It's nothing more complicated than that. That's how I find stocks that are poised to soar way higher in the years ahead. Because at the end, I narrow it down to my best idea, one stock each month, and send you my detailed research and analysis right to your inbox.
And Charles has a long list of fans. Stuart from New York says, I've relied on you for 90% of my investments over the last decade. You've made me a lot of money. I'm living the American dream due in large part to you. Thank you so much for all you do. I've come to trust you enormously. Rick, a CPA in California, writes, the main reason I joined Alpha Investor is one of my clients has been following the advice given and has been beating my picks. And John S. boasts, I decided to take over my retirement account from my financial analyst. I did not like where they were investing it. I started your newsletter right after the COVID-19 crash. In about 14 months, my $300,000 is now almost doubled at $547,000. In short, Charles does all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is read his monthly Alpha Investor report. Make the decision to buy in and watch your potential profits pile up. This approach has helped subscribers like John in Colorado make a tidy profit. John B. is a retired police officer with an amazing story. In 2008, he and his wife lost everything they had in the stock market. He says our nest egg, all $100,000, was gone. So as you can imagine, he was very hesitant to invest in the stock market again. But then he found Charles, and he's been following his investment recommendations for about a year. He wrote, "What you do for us is immeasurable. Thank you very much for such a selfless and noble mission. You're helping Americans from all walks of life secure a safer financial future." And then there's Roy from Tennessee who said, my wife and I lost $30,000 investing on our own. It was money we couldn't afford to lose. But then they found Charles. And after 4 months, just 4 months, Roy said, we finally have peace with our investing. I wish I knew about you 15 years ago. We would have been millionaires. Thank you for loving the small investors. Now, my point is this. Whether you're an experienced investor or a complete novice, Alpha Investor can help you invest with peace of mind. We asked Charles to explain what you get as a new subscriber.
Each month, I'll send you an in-depth 8-page briefing that tells you which stock I think you should buy right away. These are the types of stocks that can help you build lasting wealth. This newsletter is the core of my research service. It's written in plain English, so even if you're a novice, you'll have all the information you need to decide if you want to invest. Readers have said this research alone is worth the price of the subscription. Then there's the portfolio. A new study shows that 90% of professionals can't beat the market. But the Alpha Investor model portfolio is doing just that. Why? Well, most professional investors are required to have 100 stocks or more in their funds. Why would anyone want to own 100 stocks? You know, I don't want to own or invest in your 99th best idea. I want your top 20 recommendations. That's what you get when you subscribe to Alpha Investor. You'll also want to watch your inbox every Wednesday. That's when I send you a brief video where I update you on the market, the portfolio, and answer frequently asked questions. So no one is left in the dark. You can also access the transcript online if you prefer to read the update. You also get access to the 2 special reports I want to send you today. The Forever Battery, how to profit as EV sales grow 1,500% over the next 4 years. And a new era for energy storage, the hottest breakthrough of the 21st century. But that's not all. You'll also find an archive of all the special reports I've written in the past. All of my research briefings, special reports, and the model portfolio are posted on a secure website. No matter where you are in the world, you can use the app on your smartphone or tablet. That way you can track the portfolio and access my insights so you can stay ahead of the markets. When you subscribe, you'll also get a free subscription to the daily e-letter, America Invested Today. It's full of unique, profitable analysis from me and other members of my team. Then there's the Alpha Investing Manual. This is a priceless compilation of everything I learned during my nearly 40-year career on Wall Street. And I assure you, once it's in your hands, you'll never look at investing the same way again. Instead of seeing stocks as a mountain of numbers or jagged lines on a chart as most folks do, you'll see how to spot true, game-changing businesses. And lastly, if you ever have any questions about your subscription, simply call or email to let us know. My team will walk you through the details and benefits of your subscription.
Now, Charles tells me that people write in all the time to say how much Alpha Investor has changed their lives. James L. from Nashville says, I am 75 years young. I subscribe to Alpha Investor with $25,000 to invest in a 3 to 5 year approach. Remarkably, the smattering of stocks you recommend is now worth $30,000 in just 3 months. Dodie L. from Vegas wrote in, this is my first time investing on my own, and with your research and insights, it has been easy and fun. My investment has grown 49% overall in the last 10 months. I'm a newer subscriber, says Cindy G. I wanted to let you know that I'm enjoying your services as you have taken the guesswork out of when to buy a stock and the legwork out of what to buy. Thank you. Remember, when you take a 100% risk-free trial subscription today, you'll also get Charles's free report, The Forever Battery, How to Profit as EV Sales Grow 1,500% over the next 4 years. As the Forever Battery triggers the mass adoption of electric vehicles, the stock in Charles's report could help you find financial freedom. Remember though, nothing in the world of tech innovation is a sure thing. So if you decide to invest, you shouldn't go all in on this one stock. But the upside is so massive. Just a small stake of $1,000 could hand you a potential fortune within 5 years if you get started today. As a new subscriber, you'll also get all the details of a company that is already deploying solid-state battery storage to countries around the world. Charles's bonus report, A New Era of Energy Storage, the hottest breakthrough of the 21st century, includes everything you need to know to maximize your profits. Even if you just want to learn about what is going on, it's worth reading these 2 reports on the battery revolution. Of course, his research service will keep you updated on each of these recommendations. And keep in mind, when you sign up, you can put his work to the test for a whole year. Now, if at any time you realize that it's not for you, no problem. Just give his team a call and get a full refund. And the reports you'll receive today are yours to keep. I think you'll agree, that's about as fair as it gets. So the way I see it, you have 3 options today. First, you can do nothing. If you're already wealthy and your retirement is secure, then maybe you don't need to find out the details of the Forever Battery or get a subscription to Charles Mizrahi's Alpha Investor. This is your chance. Second, you can go it alone. You can spend weeks investigating companies and eventually find a stock you hope will go up. Even if you are willing to take that risk, is the stress worth it? That's where the third option comes in. You let Charles do the legwork for you. In other words, you can have everything handed to you on a plate by someone who spent almost 40 years on Wall Street making millions for his wealthy clients. He'll send you the details of a battery company that is driving the mass adoption of electric vehicles. You'll also receive a full report on a battery company that he believes will finally make renewable energy a reality. Plus, as a member of Alpha Investor, you get his #1 stock recommendation each month. All you need to do is read it and place the trades if you want to. And it couldn't be simpler to join. So don't delay. Just click the button on your screen and you'll be taken to a secure order page where you can review all the details of this offer before making a decision. I'm John Daly. Thank you for watching.